It may seem counterintuitive, but the first thing we must do is to thank them silently. Every experience, however painful, comes as an opportunity for our inner growth. This is especially true when we perceive that others have somehow wronged us. The hurt may run very deep if that person with whom we have had a close relationship has hurt us. How do we turn such experiences where someone has wronged us into a positive, which ultimately adds to our inner growth? It requires a great deal of courage to face the recurrent memory of that hurt. We may either suppress it or try to overcome it by telling ourselves that we did not deserve such treatment in the first place. Both these approaches do not get us away from the memory of the hurt. The opposite happens. We bring that person even closer to us. From an occasional visitor to the subconscious mind, they may take up permanent residence in our mind. There is a significant danger when this happens. First, it destroys our inner peace, and then it may become an excuse, something to shift blame onto when we express negativity in other relationships and circumstances. When we invite the person who has wronged us, there is no escaping that person. They will continue to live deep inside of ourselves. In our memory, we harbor an image of that hurt. Each time we recall that memory, the person may have wronged us to begin with starts to get a more evil makeover. We attribute everything that is currently wrong in our lives to that person. Soon, it is not us that lives within our being, but that other person who may have wronged us. This can cause significant inner damage. As it is, we are not at our true center. Such feelings of negativity towards another person due to the hurt that they may have caused us in the past moves us further away from the center of our own being. Everybody desires and deserves peace and happiness. All are equally deserving. What sets us apart is our desires. More the desires, especially the wrong kind, we become less worthy. This has nothing to do with some external influence that decides who is more or less deserving. Our desires become an obstacle to our peace and happiness. When someone wrongs us, we harbor a desire for a suitable giveback. How we do so depends on our level of sensitivity. If we are insensitive, immediately we fight back, and the situation may escalate completely out of control, and we then permanently destroy the bridge of a relationship. If we are sensitive, we soak that hurt like a sponge, and it percolates deep into our subconscious being. It can then re-emerge through memories, and we re-soak our psyche again with negative emotions. Either way, we end up losing the relationship. We miss a significant opportunity for inner growth unless we use such situations as learning and testing platforms. When someone has wronged us, it can be challenging to see that person as part of us. That's natural. There's a distinct separation. In reality, nothing can exist separately from another. We bridge the gap of separation with that other person through our negative thoughts and emotions. Whether we like or dislike a person, every time they show up in our minds, we end up meeting again. If that meeting is pleasant, we cling to the memory. If the encounter is unpleasant, we try to push back. When people we dislike show up in our inner space, our private world, they cannot come uninvited. We open the door, and we have the power to close that door. Before we can close that door for good, all visceral adverse reactions towards the person who may have wronged us in the past must subside completely. This is where courage, willpower, the desire for inner growth, the ability to forgive, and the ability to love unconditionally all intersect. These 5 things, namely courage, willpower, inner growth, forgiveness, and unconditional love, are all in our hands. Lose even one of them, and the rest will not have any strength to grow. Each one is as important as our thumb, and together they have the strength that comes when all 5 fingers work together in lifting an object. A mental role play may help. Imagine inviting that person who may have wronged us into your own home. Just as a home has many rooms, the mind has many meeting places. We can easily imagine that we occupy a private area in the mind, and we emerge from that secret place to meet that person who may have wronged us. It may be a more neutral mental ground. As we visualize that meeting in the mind, it is essential to observe the reactions that come up from within without trying to hide or ignore them. As we observe and witness those reactions, they begin to lose steam over time. Just like a giant wave crashes into the beach and quickly loses its energy, the reactions that well up from within begin to lose their power over us. This happens as long as we remain a courageous witness without falling into the temptation of interacting with these inner dramas that play out. The first time you do this, the reaction that results may be a giant wave of emotion. Each successive time, this response becomes smaller and smaller. We know we have passed a significant hurdle and taken a giant step forward in the quest for inner transformation when we welcome that other person into our mind without even a ripple of negativity registering within. We can then transform that emotional meeting into one of unconditional love and then pass a critical test that everyone must pass in order to be deserving of lasting peace and happiness. Even if we are helping millions of people, having a negative mental association with even one person washes away all the good we do. We are like sandcastles. We inhabit the sandcastle-like body, and this is for a limited time. Just like every sandcastle on the beach is made up of the same sand, our bodies are all made up of the same natural elements. Let's not lose our sandcastles by fighting one another. Let's allow the waters of life to wash away our differences and make us experience that invisible thread that binds us all.